Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Hello, everybody. Old Capmeister here. Hello, asshole. Please, for security reasons, I want you to keep my email anonymous when responding to this email. Everything is anonymous, guys. Bob at bobbobson.com. Oh, look what he wrote. Let's send it to Bob's wife. I am currently a recent med school graduate from a foreign country with no debt. I'm preparing now for the United States medical license examination. Will apply for a medical residency in internal medicine in the next 2020 cycle in the United States for educational purposes. However, due to recent changes at my country's government and how the president is running the country through corruption scandal after another, failed economic plans for reasons that would identify the country, all that made me have a gut feeling that the whole country won't be the same in terms of prosperity, growth, or political stability in the next 10 to 20 years. Yes, that is true. The commodity that your country is dependent upon, as is a lot of other countries, there's been some game changers globally, but you are correct. I've not really paid that much attention, but I do know of, yes, there have definitely been some, first time ever a certain thing happened 2 years ago, and people are like, oh, I don't know, but I'm aware. I'm currently thinking of permanently emigrating to the United States after being done with residency and fellowship, as I've read a lot of reports and news that the U.S. government grants permanent residency and green cards to doctors who are willing to work 5 years in rural or medically underserved areas that a lot of American doctors are unwilling to locate to, causing a physician shortage. I'm 25 years old, and if I move to the U.S., I don't think I'll be paid higher compared to my home country, given that we have very low taxes, except for, but that's changing too. But anything could happen in the future. If I did, it'll be more of being away from a religious conservative culture that I got sick of, and me wanting to live under a secular government that doesn't mind me leaving their religion. You just have to be a leftist over in the United States, otherwise, leftists don't like that. My question is, do you think emigrating, you emigrate to the United States, EM. My question is, do you think emigrating to the United States and living there permanently is a sound idea? If not, where do you think the best country to move to that has a future in the next 30, 40 years as a doctor? All right. From where you're going and your field, the United States, I still think is your best bet because of the reputation of you being a U.S. licensed doctor. That doesn't mean it's the best country in the world to live in, ceteris paribus, but given that you are going to become a medical doctor, you're going to the 2020 already, and the reputation that come with that, I think you want to at least spend a little bit of time in the United States. Also, for all of our problems, I still think the United States is one of, if not the best countries in the world that you should at least visit and experience before we become a Marxist socialist crap hole filled with very common, boring, inferior people. Now I'm going to get to how you're going to play this with your residency. But at least for your short to medium-term, mid-term career goals, I would definitely be considering becoming a doctor in the United States and getting your citizenship here, residency, green card, if you can. All right? Now, there are other countries that I think long-term would be better. Long term, of which by the time you're done being a doctor here in the United States, it'd just be simpler for you to buy property or have a bank account in these countries. Of which I would say Poland, Hungary. That can change though, dude. Ireland, Ireland was this Celtic tiger, and now they're voting in all the touchy-feely bullshit. This is the problem with having small countries with small populations. I like the Philippines, maybe not necessarily for high standards of living, but they kind of leave you the F alone. They speak English, although you speak English, so there's Dubai, That's another one. You may not like that. You may know a little bit more about it than I do. But I kind of like that. What else? Some Central European countries, Slovenia. But if you want, listen, tune in to Matt Forney. I mean, you wouldn't want to tune in necessarily for that. But he's checking out all these different countries, and every country has a drawback, every one. I still think the United States, with just simple shits like okay highway systems, you can go to warm climates, hot climates, cold climates. There's other stuff to do. There's different towns you can escape. Like if you really don't like New York City, you can go to Texas. If you really don't like Texas, you can go to California. If you really don't like California, you can go to Idaho. There's a lot of variety in the country. So for the here and now, and for the sake of your career, I would become a U.S. doctor, and I would at least get U.S. citizenship if you can, or permanent residency, ideally citizenship. Going and working in these rural locations. Then once you make the money here, you establish your income in a first world nation, then maybe start looking, Thailand, that's another one that people are looking forward to. I hear good stuff about Malaysia. For some reason, what's his name? Andrew Hendrickson, he talks about that highly. But by the time let's say you do your residency, and then you become an established doctor, you get your citizenship, and then you work up your money and you pay off all this stuff if you have student loans even. That could be 15, 20 years from now, and all that could change. All right? Ireland 20 years ago, I was like, dude, go to Ireland, man. Now, fuck no, I ain't going to Ireland. So I would postpone that decision because the information that would go into that decision is definitely going to change. So for the immediate and medium term, I would be going to the United States to become a doctor for a doctor's sake. Now, since you're going to become a doctor, most likely going through this 5 years in rural and medically underserved areas, a lot of American doctors are unwilling to locate to, I think that might actually be a good idea. Because whereas American doctors, I don't want to go to wherever, North Dakota, I don't want to go to, I'm trying to think, the middle of nowhere, Idaho, I don't want to go to these far-flung places where it's not in the big city and all that. For a guy like you, from a different culture that happens to be more conservative, at least culturally, not religiously, but and you're a doctor, so you're not like, dude, man, let's get fucked up. You're probably a bit more mature. You probably take your life a little bit more seriously. I think you would do well in the rural areas. Now, it depends what's rural in the United States. Iowa would be very rough. Nebraska, I'm trying to think of like the worst possible rural would be someplace in nowhere, Nebraska. And it's going to be boring, and there's not going to be a lot there, and you're going to be flying out. But you're going to be with traditional conservative people. The media is going to say they're going to be racist against you. No, they're not. Okay, there's going to be some drunk dipshit. All right, fine. Ignore the drunk dipshit. But the people themselves are probably going to be more conservative, both religiously and politically and philosophically. They're going to be against having kids out of wedlock. There is, of course, there's always an exception. There's always the drunkards or the meth heads and all that. But that's like the worst case scenarios I could possibly think is you are stuck in frickin' Nebraska. All right? Now, a little bit better than that, still far remote, but now it starts to get a little pretty and scenic. Oh, you got to go to West Virginia. And they always pick on West Virginia. Even I will pick on West Virginia because the people are dumb there. They're really dumb. But it's actually kind of beautiful. It's actually kind of pretty. Or we're going to send you out to the middle of nowhere, Alaska. Alaska's very pretty. Now, a lot of people want to suffer the cold, but if you could get by in the cold, you're going to get to see some beautiful country. You get to explore, hike, a lot of nowhere Idaho, nowhere Montana, nowhere Colorado, nowhere New Mexico. All right, fine. It's on the middle of nowhere. It's an impoverished town, or nobody really. Not that bad. Not that bad. And again, probably more traditional conservative type of people. Where you may want to consider, and this has got its pros and cons. They may have you go work on the Indian reservations. American Indian, not East Indians. We don't have a bunch of East Indians coming here just sitting on reservations. The American Indians. They're poor, and the good thing about that is they're typically in beautiful parts of the country, so you can, mountains and national parks. Bad part, absolute destitute poverty, and you can probably expect to be assaulted. I know one lady that was raped, this was many, many years ago, who was going to help out the Indians, and she unfortunately got raped. We're talking like the 70s or the 80s, long time ago. So it is not nice. It is absolutely. You go to the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. There are some reservations that are destitute, and there's some reservations that are very nice. Actually, you get a casino on there. Where is it? Oh, who owns Mystic Lake? This is in the Twin Cities, south of town. Is it Ojibwe? They got some nice houses. They're doing good. You go through, you're like, this is the res. Okay, this is nice. This is very nice. And there's some others where the farmers or they're industrious or whatever. They may not have you. They might. But if you get into a Pine Ridge or a Rosebud, oh man, it's bad and it's poverty and you're needed. But don't expect you're going to change the world. But then okay, Pine Ridge, you're right next to the Black Hills and the Bighorn Mountains and all that other stuff. That's another thing. Or they might have you go into it wouldn't be rural, it would be urban. They'd be serving in, the ghetto or the barrio. And again, that comes with it. Oh, you'll be in New York City. Oh, you'll be in New York City. But you're going to be working in Ocasio-Cortez's district, where they're just so fucking dumb. And I do mean that, not because of them having health issues, but because you guys voted that moron in. Still, I think if they're talking rural, that's going to jive well. Probably, you might be surprised how at home you might feel. You'll always be homesick. I mean, you are a foreigner in a foreign land, but it may not be as bad as you think. And I think, you get some high-flying hotshot fresh out of med school or Harvard Medical School, whatever the top school is here. I don't know. I'm not going to go work in Faith, South Dakota. Dude, Faith, South Dakota is a cool town. You might be surprised. You'd be called Doc. So you'd be called Doc. They come in, hey, where's Doc? Doc's over here. And then you go play poker with the guys over at the bar. It wouldn't be the worst thing. Matter of fact, you better contact me. If you get an option like this town, this town, this town, this town, let me know. I might know the town. And I can go, oh no, man. Oh yeah, you can get like Hot Springs would be a real cool town. I think they got enough doctors down there though. Just contact me first before you. Oh, what? Casper, Wyoming. That sounds great. So which country has a future 30 to 40 years? The United States has that future in the next 10 to 20. But I would 30 to 40. Give it wait till let's talk then. What do you think about the future of oil and its value as an energy source, and the future of the Gulf countries that have a hard time to move away from it since its discovery? What do they call it? The Black Death, or when you get a commodity economy and it doesn't diversify? Venezuela did that. I don't know about the future because I can't. If I said, oh, this is about the future, I'm lying because I don't know anything about the future. Nobody does. The future of oil. I think oil is going to have a hard cap at about $3 a gallon, whatever that translates into barrels per oil. I don't know. Because if it gets too expensive, because of fracking technology, a lot of those wells, all of which the infrastructure has been put in now, by the way, those wells just need to be turned on, tapped again, and they'll start pumping oil and gas again. So I think there's a hard limit going up to $3. It's not going to get much above that because we have a supply. The United States, I forgot what it was, however many, 50 years supply, I don't know, proven reserves. I looked it up at one time. But there's basically, because of fracking in the United States and Canada, and now other countries as well, there is this limit. So it's going to be $3 a gallon, and not much higher. Because if it does get then it'll become profitable again, and we'll just turn on the spigot again, and we'll make the money, and then we'll drive the price back down, and we're gonna lay everybody off. So its value as an energy source, I don't see it going away. I do not see any intelligent people. What would really kill oil, because I want to do this, is if they made it so that we could have either not so much the solar power or wind power, but that we could rig it up and hook it up ourselves. And then therefore we could charge our cars. Now, if we ever got along to the point where that was simple enough, we could charge our cars, then the electric car would become more cost effective, and then that would drive down, that would eliminate, well not eliminate, but definitely cut into the price of oil. If we got to nuclear power, nuclear reactors, then it was like, yep, just plug it in, that's practically free energy, there you go. I know, not you, the idiots in the comment section. You know, technically nuclear power is not free, they cost several $1 billion to build. It's going to be around because we just, I want to plug in, because I got down in the Southern Command, they got a plug-in place because there's a ton of solar panels out there. You just, here, Deb's like, okay, I want to get an electric car, but even the electric cars, even used, are still too expensive. I don't think you, in our lifetime, you're younger than me, I don't think in your lifetime you're going to see oil go away. It will always have some kind of value because the combustion engine isn't going away. We really don't think, it's a lot of scientists and engineers, not enough capitalists. I mean, God almighty, freaking Elon Musk, how long does it take? The Tesla, that's the most success we've had, and that is a cost-prohibitive car. Only rich, arrogant assholes, like, I have an electric car. Hang on, I'm jerking off to myself. That's the best, so that's still, you know, they haven't made that cost-effective. So I still think it's here to stay. Certainly for quite, and the price of oil is a little bit high right now. Of course, a lot of that has been, we switched to our summer blends and the traveling season in the United States is beginning. So I think it'll be there, and the future of the Gulf countries that have a hard time to move away from since its discovery. Well, the future, okay, you either move away or you don't. Dubai, this is why I like Abu Dhabi. They diversified. Hey, we're a financial haven. Hey, we got golf. Hey, we got tourism. Come here. Okay, Tiger Woods will go play golf there. The Red Bull will have their flight competitions there. God almighty. I think, never been there, don't know, but you got to have some nice beaches, I'd imagine. You get a handle around terrorism and you say, hey, come here, and you could have a real estate boom. You could, I don't know what else you do with a bunch of sand though. But if you were to take a lesson from Dubai or Hong Kong or Singapore and become a financial center, a tax haven, and you cater towards rich people, like, would you like to live here? Okay, come out here. No taxes. Don't fuck up though. No chewing gum in Singapore. There's that. It would take an entrepreneur better than me to figure out what else to do. We could do a solar power. There's the sun out there. I don't know these things. But they either diversify or they don't. If they don't diversify, well, then when the commodity price tanks and you guys had promised all these social programs and free shit and free this and free that and free Taco Tuesdays, well, and then there's no more Taco Tuesdays, and then people revolt because they're used to having. I remember Iran. I think they're going into revolts because the price of gas went up above a nickel a gallon. Now, this is back in the 70s or 80s. Like a nickel a gallon. What the hell? So there's always a way to diversify. Yeah, you stand at a financial center, tourism. Okay, but if they don't diversify, well, their future's really going to suck, and it's going to go like this. But the future of oil, it's here to stay. Maybe not as in demand. Future of an energy source, I think it'll still be there to power most of our vehicles and engines. We're not going to see the electric engine anytime soon because dude, I looked into it. I was thinking like, I get this Tesla again. Tesla had this wall battery. I'm like, I just get 2 wall batteries, then I plug it in. Nope, they're not going to ever make it. The people in the solar green electrical world, they're never going to say, hey, you know what, maybe we should make this customer friendly. Like, you should have it where you just have this plug-in that comes with every house, and then it plugs into the battery. See, if we have this infrastructure where, you know, a moron like Aaron could do it, he just hangs up the battery, plugs it in, and then hooks it up to the solar panels. Bada boom, bada bing, there it goes. No, you need to hire a technician for $2,500 to come in and do, oh, fuck it. We're not even there. If we're not there, don't worry about it. Oil will be around for a while. Value of an energy source, yeah, they'll still, and I don't know beyond that. Future of Gulf countries, diversify or die. I mean, that's basically it. But yeah, if I was from one of those countries, I'd want to get out. And you kind of are. You are diversifying. You're diversifying your skills. You're becoming a doctor. And if you get a U.S. medical license, well, you get carte blanche. You could go wherever the hell you want. You're like, excuse me, I'm from the United States. I have a medical license. Somebody comes from Turkmenistan and, oh, I got a medical license. Sure you do, Skippy. Back to med school with you. Or we're going to do it the American way. So there's a bit of a, not a bit, but a fair amount of cachet that comes with that. And then I asked, have you done much traveling, blah, 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 blah. You visited the U.S. when you were younger in Florida, in New York, Spain, Dubai, Egypt. So you would have your residency, wave condition, and then you'd be qualified for a green card. And no, I can't work if you're not a citizen. So you'd have to become a U.S. citizen or permanent resident only. And yes, you could be a dual citizen. Yeah, and you're asking, like, well, should I become a U.S. citizen? Look, if you could become a U.S. citizen, go ahead. Absolutely. I see no reason not to. I see no reason for you not to become a doctor here. Get all the licensure and requirement. No reason for you not to go to those rural areas. I think it'd be a great experience for you. You could also conduct some reconnaissance out there, find out where you might want to live if you do decide to stay in the United States permanently. So I see no drawback for you becoming a U.S. citizen and pursuing this rural approach where they have a shortage of doctors. I don't think there's a future for your home country, and not even necessarily a bad one. But you are right. You're a little bit more adventuresome. You're just curious. You want to see what else is out there. You want to go travel. You want to become a doctor. You're industrious. Well, industrious isn't going to cut it for countries where it's like, we did it this way, or did it that way, we're going to do it that way again. Oh, shit, the price of what dropped? Oh, well, kill the peasants. I think you're probably a little bit more, I hate to use the word Western, but more of a worldly man, whose home may not be the United States, but it's a good stop point over, especially for your career. Boom. That's it. All right, questions, answers, AstroConsulting.com. See you kids later. Toodles.